How many hours a day do you spend on your phone? If you're an American adult, chances are you spend around 3.5 hours on your phone every day. Not bad, but it's nothing compared to teenagers.
My average screen time is like 8 or 9 hours a day.
This week, it's 4 hours and 30 minutes is my average for the daily.
Probably like 4 to 6 hours.
Average of 7 to 8.
Probably around 4 to 5 hours.
I am literally always on it. I think it's like 18 hours a day.
The average teenager spends about 7.5 hours on their phone every day. But why?
Mainly, it's just interacting with sites that I enjoy. So a lot of like YouTube or like listening to music.
Majority of the time is TikTok. If it's not TikTok, I'm usually watching anime.
It's like I use it to talk to people or for art references.
Is connecting with friends, listening to music, and creating art really all that bad? According to some adults, absolutely. There are hundreds of articles about how too much phone time rots your brain, how violent video games corrupt your mind, and more. These people assume that the issue is phones themselves. However, this situation is more complicated. It's not just the phone. The problem is social media.
I usually use TikTok the most.
Snapchat.
I watch YouTube a lot.
Instagram.
Twitter, probably.
I was on Tumblr for a little while.
90% of teenagers have used social media. It's how teens connect. Social media can be used for positive activities. It's fantastic that teens have easy access to social interaction with their peers, especially during quarantine when they don't have the option of going to school. However, statistics show that social media does more harm than good. On all social media sites, there's an overwhelming urge to be popular and fit in. Apps like Instagram and Twitter run on likes and comments.
Like Instagram, you get likes if people, approve of whatever you're posting. And I think a lot of people find validation through that.
It's human nature to seek approval from others. Let's take a look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, an idea in psychology proposed by Abraham Maslow. This theory describes human motivation. Simply put, what drives us. The first two layers of the pyramid describe our basic needs: food, water, warmth, shelter, then security and safety. Just above that, we have belonging. Humans want to fit in and be approved of. According to Maslow, humans seek validation from social groups. In the absence of this love and validation, people can become lonely, withdrawn, and depressed. It's human nature to belong. Social media apps use this to their advantage. The like button exists to seek approval from others. According to a study conducted by UCLA researchers, teens receive large amounts of dopamine whenever they see more likes on their pictures. It's similar to eating chocolate or winning money. However, when teens receive less likes, they feel more strongly rejected and report more negative effects and more negative thoughts about themselves. In a study conducted by researchers at the University of Texas at Austin, a team simulated social media interactions with students. The study found that receiving less likes actually lowered the students' self-esteem. A second study using the same experimental task found that teens with the strongest negative reaction to receiving less likes were also more likely to experience symptoms of depression. As well as that, the pressure to receive likes and be liked can lead to insecurity online. And a big part of that has to do with body image.
I don't wear what a lot of people seem to deem as like, this is pretty. Or I don't seem to like have the body type that people seem are pretty. And it's like,
It kind of, I guess, when I was younger, would encourage me to dress like more normal. It's lame that my high school years just weren't good because I was so unhappy with myself outwardly, and I was so obsessed with that and trying to make myself look better that I let my studies fail. I would see my classmates Instagrams because I would just try to dress like them because I wanted them to like me, but at the same time I also didn't want to get bullied.
Often, the most liked photos and most popular accounts are ones featuring attractive people, celebrities like Kim Kardashian or Kylie Jenner. Unfortunately, the urge to be liked, that third level on the Maslow hierarchy of needs, fuels teens' desire to be just like these celebrity idols that get millions of likes. If people like them because of their body, then naturally teens want to look just like them. In fact, 88% of women say that they compare themselves to images in the media, while 65% of men report the same thing.
You can't really help but compare yourself to these people,
I would look at girls and I'd be like, wow, if only I look like them, or I was tall like them, or skinny like them, and all that stuff.
You may feel confident, but if you go and see somebody and you compare yourself to them, that immediately kind of takes down your confidence.
However, social media is flooded with unreasonable standards. In the digital age, it's easier than ever to edit selfies using Photoshop or other apps. You can cover up blemishes, change your body shape, and more. Nearly 2/3 of Americans say that they edit photos before they post them. This can lead to disastrous consequences. According to Nia Chaudhry, a child and adolescent psychiatrist at Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard Medical School, people end up creating unrealistic ideals for themselves based on what they see, and feel distressed when they aren't able to meet those ideas or self-expectations. This distress has been proven to manifest itself in the form of decreased self-esteem and poorer body image. Even worse, studies have shown that there's a link between social media use and the development of mental illness. Between 2009 and 2017, rates of depression among teens ages 14 to 17 increased by more than 60%. Rates of suicidal thoughts, plans, and attempts all increased significantly, and in some cases, more than doubled. This trend cannot continue. We need to do something. But is there a solution?
Personally, I think the solution for social media would be to eliminate the things that make people want to download social media in the first place. So the likes, the views, the comments.
There's obviously never going to be like a perfect world where everybody's happy, but I think that I know like I've seen a lot of like body positivity trends and like people just being unapologetically themselves. And I think just more stuff like that where it's like you see someone and you're like, wow, that's really cool. And then, you know, like you can kind of follow them and like just be yourself more. And I think that the more people that start to show like these little flaws, that I think that'll make it a little bit of a better place.
The one that may first come to mind is banning social media.
Social media kind of creates that dependency, and so if you really want to be happy and really like be in a good place, you're gonna like have to commit and delete it. And I mean, that's really hard, but like at the end of the day, like if you want to be happy, like you have to delete it, which is hard.
However, getting rid of it altogether isn't the solution. As mentioned before, social media is a genuinely good tool for teens to connect, especially during the pandemic with no in-person school.
On one hand, I think definitely like if everybody got rid of it, I think it would be great, but I just know that that's not realistic and that it's just better to focus on like the good that can come out of it and like just trying to make the internet like less of a toxic place to be.
We're already so accustomed to the profiles that we build in our life and how extensively we use social media that there wouldn't be a way for us to just get rid of it because nobody would want that.
But clearly, something does need to change. Remember Maslow's hierarchy and the negative consequences of not being liked? Some apps are actively trying to find a solution to this issue. For example, Instagram is experimenting with removing likes on their posts. Users will still be able to like pictures, but the like count will be removed from public view. It's too early to see if this is helpful to the mental health of users, but it's fantastic to see companies attempting to solve this issue. The problem of unreasonable standards, however, is something more complex. The root issue isn't just perpetuated by social media. Before social media, TV and magazines pushed unrealistic bodies as well. This, too, leads to body dissatisfaction. As mentioned earlier, the consequences that result from this can include decreased self-esteem, depression, self-harm, and suicide. Did you know that more than 70% of people with mental health issues do not receive any kind of treatment or care? Almost 20% of high school students experience suicidal thoughts. Depressed teens are more than twice as likely to drop out of high school. There are extreme consequences for this mental health epidemic. They need treatment. According to a study by EAB, students are far more likely to seek treatment for mental health issues at school rather than a clinic. It is essential that we focus our efforts on making mental health treatment accessible. Schools are the best place for that. Referring to the report, schools are often under-resourced and underprepared to give students the treatment that they need. During an interview with the website Education Week, EAB Managing Director Pete Talbot said that, "We have a mental health provider shortage in this country. Schools have been thrust into this position, but they're not really resourced. In many respects, it's an unfunded mandate." The report shows that schools are failing at the following. 1. Identifying students with mental health issues early. 2. Taking advantage of partnerships with external providers. 3. Adequately reintegrating students back into the classroom after they have had a mental health-related leave of absence. 4. Combating the stigma of mental health. Much of mental health treatment is prevention. Reacting to students only after they are in a mental health crisis isn't good for the student or the teacher. Instead, Schools should identify students early on and connect them with the treatment they need. In order to do this, schools should create early warning systems that help school staff identify students in need. They should have plans to help integrate students back into school after a mental health crisis. Finally, in order to combat the stigma, schools should have ongoing mental health awareness campaigns throughout the year. With these solutions, teens have the potential to avoid disastrous mental health consequences while still utilizing social media for good.
Now I don't care what other people think of me. I realized that literally 2 years ago, I think I finally was like, wow, it doesn't matter actually. Wow, it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter how many likes you get or how many followers you have. I learned now that everyone is beautiful in their own unique way. Yeah, sure, she might be tall and skinny, but I'm me and I'm not her and she's her.
If you struggle with mental health or your body image, there are so many online resources to help. The National Suicide Hotline number is 1-800-273-8255. You can call for crisis counseling and immediate help. Text HELLO to 741-741 for the Crisis Text Hotline, which connects you with a crisis counselor who can provide support and information over text. Also, the National Alliance on Mental Illness is the largest nationwide mental health advocacy group with hundreds of state organizations, affiliates, and volunteers. There, you can find support groups, free education, awareness, and community.